second round of the digital GT500 sees us reach another circuit, and more to the point, the Motorsport Arena Ascher Racing Grandprix circuit, which is measuring just around about 3.7 kilometers long. And what's more, with the adaptability format that we have, where we have solo qualifying, 2 races where the grid is decided by qualifying, and then we flip the script a little bit for race 2, where we put the top 20 the other way around. The cars that we're driving tonight will be the Toyota GR86 Cup cars that currently are part of the initiative over in the USA with SRO Esports. So it is going to be a true test for the drivers for tonight. Of course, 50 drivers qualified for the opportunity to compete for a prize pool worth of €5,000. And more to the point, well, you join Alex Goldschmidt and Nico Hillebrand once again. We've got our broadcast director, Mike Yao, behind the scenes helping to provide all the action. And Nico, good to see you once again. Once more, I'm in karting attire. It's been a bit of a mad rush in the weekend, but how are things? How are you keeping, buddy? It's good to see you again.
Oh, I mean, you're not the only one busy this weekend. I was visiting the Nürburgring for DTM recently, and yeah, yesterday I came back basically at 1 a.m. and then slept for 9 hours. But everything's great now. I'm looking forward to a fantastic race around here. And I gotta say, you know, with this sort of combination, so low power beginner, entry-level touring cars and Oschersleben, it hits close to home for me, since I had my first couple of touring car races there a couple of years ago. So, you know, I can say from experience, it's going to be a fantastic race here.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, well, what does the calendar look like? Well, we can't tell you the cars and the tracks because we simply don't know. We'll find out when the drivers do the day before. So, obviously, round 4 will take place on the 8th of September. Then we'll have the penultimate round offline at the 22nd of September. But then the 20th of October 2024, the final bit of business at the ADAC SimRacing Expo 2024. Well, that's going to be the final hurrah, and whoever wins is going to get a cool €1,000 in their pocket. The top 20 get prize money, and already when we had VIR at and plus we also had the Mustang GT3, the latest V8 muscle car to hit iRacing service. It really provided us with 2 great races. We'll have the highlights up very shortly in a couple of minutes time, but we had 2 very bona fide winners. Sven Haase in race 1 for Grid & Go Esports, and then Olympus Esports having Thomas Cope battling away with a few other drivers, despite the fact that one driver who was leading up until the halfway point didn't quite get their own way and felt they got shoved aside a little bit. But this is what this means to everybody. You know, there was a lot of competition. We had one of the highest time attack servers on iRacing, and a big thank you to everyone at iRacing stateside for making this possible as well. We can't do this series without our partners either, Asetek Simsports, Gridfinder, Logitech G, Sim Staff, and of course, for the latest breaking news in the sim racing world, head to our good friends over at Traction. But you know, we go to something completely different, a circuit that I visited when TCR International Series used to be a thing, and then it partnered with ADAC TCR Germany with the biggest assembled TCR grid in its entire history at that point, 60 plus cars on the start-finish straight, and it's a lengthy start-finish straight heading into turn 1 here at Oschersleben. It is going to be a true test with these rear-wheel drive production-based vehicles, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's also quite nice because they, of course, have slick tires. You know, it's not too bad overall because, you know, besides being completely race prepared, you know, externally they don't look too different from the road car. But they're quite a narrow car. They are around 1.25 tons in curb weight. But they also get very, very sophisticated traction control and ABS systems from Bosch. And these cars are just an absolute blast. You know, they are very, very good cars. You know, obviously also the new higher increased capacity 2.4 liter flat 4 engine that they have in those wonderful GR86s, and everything is just looking great today.
Well, before we head trackside very, very soon in the next few minutes, we're going to head to the highlights for round 1 at VIR with the Mustang GT3. Well, it was really good to see those highlights there, Nico. I mean, Paolo Espes and Thomas Cope going wheel to wheel for the last few corners on the final lap on race 2. But, you know, very, very different circuit. Just tell the folks at home what we can expect with this track. I mean, obviously, I said it's a long run down to turn 1, but it's a very technical infield. And then you've got a lot of long straightaways and hard braking zones and quick changes of direction to contend with the Toyota GR86.
Well, not just that. I'd say the entire track is fairly technical. You know, for the first 2 corners, you know, we have the hotel section. Obviously, for a very long time, it was, I'd say, you know, ruined, like most motorsport fans, you know, when they had this very, very angular, you know, which was described as the worst corner in motorsport for a while, when WTCC went there. But now it's back to its flowing original form, very, very fast direction change. You basically just brake on the escape road off to the right just before the corner starts, go all the way over the curb, then all the way over the inside curb, and basically just slowly let yourself drift outside. Hasseröder, just a normal, pretty much a peak example for a medium speed, long apex hairpin. And then you're going to the triple left. Absolutely phenomenal section to race in these sorts of cars. I can just tell from experience, quite literally, especially in mixed conditions. You know, you're basically going in there, you're holding on basically just barely to the car as it's slowly starting to drift to the outside in the middle of the corner, and just hoping that you're not going to go too far outside. Then we have the very, very long, over 180 degrees right-hander. Then through the chicane, which used to be the McDonald's chicane, but it's just chicane nowadays, I think. A quick right-left jink, completely over the curbs, and then a long right-hander onto the Stadion Gerade, which is the back straight.
Yeah. And
through the Shell S, which I think also used to be the Senna S, but, you know, racetracks and corner names and all that stuff. And, yeah, very, very nice medium speed chicane. And basically also, as usual, you know, try to keep it straight, keep it completely error-free. You have a little bit of runoff on the AstroTurf, basically, to play with. But after that, it's straight gravel and grass, and not really too much room for error, with then the second to last corner, which is a very quick jink as well, and then into the final corner, the Sachsen-Anhalt Kurve.
Well, we're getting underway with qualifying. It's solo qualifying. Drivers will have 2 laps of this 3.7 kilometre circuit to contend with. I do spot on the live timing though, however, Nico, that Sven Haase is not with us this evening. Of course, we have initiated a drop score for the 5-round series. Not just for that, but also for the Community Trophy, which will be making its return on the 1st of September in the Duquesne LMP3 cars. Here we are on with the Community Trophy leader, funnily enough, Leon Harhoff from Germany. He's definitely been one of the drivers. Thomas Cope also is doing double duty. Quite a few drivers have decided to take up the initiative of doing both competitions and get more bang for their buck, aren't they?
And you have to just love that enthusiasm about going racing, you know? Like, it's just crazy, honestly, to jump in between, you know, 2 very different simulators, you know, 2 very different feeling force feedbacks and stuff, and still be, you know, able to perform quite well. I mean, Leonardo is, I'd say he should feel quite at home with this car, you know? He's quite used to racing, you know, basically cars in this region of power with, you know, basically no downforce and, you know, pretty much slicks or semi-slicks, you know, around in smaller series in Germany. So, you know, he should feel quite at home right now. You can see how he's very confidently attacking the sausage curbs as well. And here over the AstroTurf there, it's really stupendously wide, so you can really just use all of that. But to be fair, we also have a quite narrow car. It's less than 1.8 meters wide.
Yeah, and it is a 4-cylinder engine as well in these cars, 2 litre if I remember correctly. Also, the bit where we see the 5 red pylons always used to get a pummeling when DTM was there, and I think they probably still do to this very day. I remember the likes of Timo Glock, Bruno Spengler, and all that lot just coming through that very, very fast part. The chicane part was like a quick left and then a quick right, and then all of a sudden you're taking the bollards out, which used to do quite a lot of damage to front aerodynamic splitters, if I'm completely honest with you. But Leon Harhoff looks, as you very much rightly said there, Nico, at home at the moment. Some of the drivers are nearly 50% of the way through their opening out of 2 qualifying laps. Leon Harhoff getting very, very close to track limits there, and this is the chicane I was talking about. You know, you're quickly on the right, you're quickly to the left, you're back to the right again, and then you just try and carry that momentum through.
And actually, gotta say, with the difference, so these cars have around 50 horsepower more power than the Chevy Cruisers did that I raced around here, but they are also around 200 kilos heavier, and surprisingly enough, other than the corner speeds on this thing being a bit higher, because, it's slicks versus semi-slicks, also quite big difference if you don't even think about that. The top speeds aren't too far apart, actually, so that's actually quite fun to look at.
First set of lap times coming in. David Bosger with a 1:37.551. Simone Passioni goes in 1:37.701. Pablo Espes, Thomas Cope, then Luis Bellica goes up to P2. Octavio Rondoletto from Argentina up to 5th. Dino Lombardi, ex-Williams eSports driver, now up to P3. So the times are changing. Steen Ledger up to 8th. Thomas Cope rounds out the top 10, covered by just over 0.66 of a second. As Leon Harhoff places 16th at the minute. Ross McFarlane has just gone purple in Sector 3 and has just put it 3rd on the grid.
Really, really good run from him, and look at him just completely tackling the inside curb there. You can see the car almost jumping there for a moment. And, very, very late apex there for that corner, of course. You take the first apex on the inside curb, pretty much just taking it as a chicane, but then around the entire rotation of Hotel, you basically just take a later apex again and then let yourself get dragged out. And next corner right after that, pretty much the same story all over again. You go a bit later for the apex, around just after where you'd normally think, just so you can have a little bit more of that on-camber experience there.
Yeah, David Bosger's just put it into the pit lane. Andrea Bristow from Italy in the number 35 has just got ahead of Lorenzo Manfredotti. So 4 Italians, a quartet of them. Well, they've just been split by Pablo Espes, who's just gone 6th. So he's put in his 2 laps in qualifying. David Bosger's done 1 lap and has put it in the pit lane, so still has less than 4 3/4 minutes to get back out there. Sergio Ferrero goes 7th and was fastest in the opening sector in the number 15. And there is Octavio Rondoletto. There's Sergio Ferrero running a little bit slowly through the chicane, but Rondoletto about to go across the line very shortly in a few moments. But there is Ross McFarlane. He's gone personal best in sector 1 and 2. No improvement on his lap time. Well, he's improved his lap time, but not improved on position. So the Scotsman rounds out the top 3. So we have Bosger from Bellica, McFarlane, Lombardi, Passioni, Jano Koch has just put it 6th, ahead of Sergio Ferrero, Pablo Espes, Andrea Bristow, and Adam Isaacson. Isaacson, who had drama in race 2 at round 1, has put it 10th as the Swede. But Rondoletto looking to hopefully improve this time around. His best effort, a 1:37.872, just over 3/10. Simone Maria Marciano from Italy goes 7th, but then gets deposed by Bristow in the dying moments. Still under 2.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. And everyone apart from the Czech Republic's Miroslav Svoboda. 31 cars with us tonight here, Nico. Svoboda yet to set a lap time and is fast running out of that time as well, because we're coming up to the final 3 minutes.
I mean, it's a relatively short lap to do, a lap around for the outlap. Luckily, it's not, like the Nürburgring where you have to do a longer outlap. But either way, Svoboda should get his move on as quickly as he can, if he is even attempting to qualify. There's some people that also think, if I'm in the mid-pack, then I might get wiped out in a start collision. And especially around here, with these very fast direction changes and through the chicane, you're braking for the hotel curve right-hander. A lot of times you can have a lot of carnage here, so some people actually do try to stay a bit further away, but I'd still try to qualify, in all honesty.
That's the best mentality, is in the never give up mentality, that is. So we are coming down to the last 2 and a bit minutes. Jason Staney in the number 57. The man from the United States comes across the line, 26th position. What's more, it is very, very competitive. From first to David Bosca to Jason Staney is just under 1.1 seconds. 1.8 covers 30 drivers, with Pedro Amengual rounding out the 30 drivers. Looks like Miroslav Svoboda will do what we call in the UK a top gear from the rear. He'll start stone dead last, but may have technical problems. There's 2 wheels in the air for Octavio Rondaletto from Argentina. Minute and a half to go. And the driver comes out of the final corner here at Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. And will he improve? 2 duff sectors, make that 3 in a row, and he stays 13th at the moment. Jason Staney is again on another push lap, and well, there we go. There's Jason Staney, the number 57, and yeah, David Bosca's done a really, really good job. Taken a page out of the book that Sven Haase did last time out for VIR with the Mustang GT3, but as Nico rightly said, very different car. You can see the pitch and roll in comparison with a very heavily aero-dependent GT3 car, and this thing's production-based. It is on slick tyres with a big old rear wing on the back of it, a front splitter to give some modicum of downforce as Jason Staney comes out of the final corner. Is he going to improve from 26th? Let's find out. And that looks to be a no on that one. Rondaletto's still out there, bumping and weaving and trying to get the car to do ski mode like Knight Rider did in the 1980s. If anyone might remember that series, I'm showing my age again.
Oh, I do.
I know you do. It's popular over there in Germany. I should know
for sure.
that.
David Hasselhoff, of course.
Yeah, who made more appearances on the German hit parade than I'd like to mention. He is a bit of a talisman over there. But checkered flag is out, and David Bosca takes pole position by 24 thousandths of a second for race 1 for round 2, ahead of Lewis Bellica. So a very, very compacted grid. They're starting to ready up ahead of our first race here at Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. Well, it looks like it's going to be even more fiery. Here's your starting grid. David Bosca and Lewis Bellica on the front row. Ros McFarlane and Dina Lombardi row 2. Simone Passione and Jana Koch round out the top 3 rows, with Andrea Bristow, Simone Maria Marciano, Sergio Ferrero, and then we've got Pablo Espes rounding out the top 10. Adam Isaacson from Sweden and Lorenzo Manfredotti round out the top 12. Octavio Rondaletto and Hendrik Augustin round out row 7 ahead of Steen Ledger and Toshihiro Kawasaki. Thomas Cope and Haroldas Jotautas round out row 9. Completing the top 20, Eric Grove and Felix Vötter. Ansgar Alrichter and Leon Harhoff round out the next row, with Daniel Ingelmo. And then we've got Marcello Caserta. Andrea Dalla Valle, known quantity in sim racing, starts 25th. Head of Jason Staney, Tobias Kuggen, Daniel Sedgley, another one, along with Igor Wozowski, who are also competing in the Asetek Simsports Community Trophy. They line up 28th and 29th with Pedro Amengual. Miroslav Svoboda might not be readying up, but we're waiting for the top 3 to start on the grid. McFarlane now joining us. So there you see the aerial shots here, and wonderful layouts here at Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. I still remember going there and remembering when one of Josh Foyles' teammates at Target Competition, when they were running the Honda FK2s, ended up going up into smoke into race 1, and the team got it together for race 2. I remember it was a Swiss driver, can't remember his name. Yes, Chris Richard from Switzerland was Josh Foyles' teammate. They had about 4 or 5 cars, and they got Chris's car ready for race 2 for TCR Germany. But Nico, it's going to be a very interesting affair in this opening race, and then we switch the top 20 around.
Yeah, not just that. I just overall, this track just invites good racing. It invites clean racing, and this car invites that you carry the momentum. You have to stay clean. You have to stay properly, like, within the limits of the car. and overdriving it will not help you get anywhere. And, you know, at the same time, you can still take most of these corners 2 wide, sometimes even 3 wide, as we're now making our way towards the last corner for these guys.
So, we're about to get underway with the second round out of 5 for the ADAC Digital GT500 for 2024. Race 1, round 2 here at Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. The red lights are on. They're already starting to squabble and trade paint. 4 abreast as we come across the line. The lights are out and Lewis Belliker takes the early lead from David Bosger, but it's 3-4 abreast running down into the opening corner, the left-hander. Who's going to get the advantage? They're already checking up and a spin around, and that was Ross McFarlane off the circuit. He was pushed over, and we've also had more problems for Passioni, but Lewis Belliker has got the early lead despite the early dramas.
They had contact before even the lights came out. These guys were absolutely waiting for it to go completely green, and already were gunning it and getting their elbows out. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you put them in the same vehicle, everyone's fair game. So, Belliker leads on lap 1 ahead of David Bosger. Andrea Bristow, Dino Lombardi round out the top 4. Jarno Koch, who we are riding trackside with, rounding out the top 5 in the number 7. Pablo Espes, Sergio Ferrero, Lorenzo Manfredotti, Simone Maria Marceno, and Argentina's Octavio Rondoletto round out the top 10. And look at the train of cars. It's like a Deutsche Bahn multi-carriage train going at 160 plus kilometers an hour at the moment as they head into the next part of the circuit, into the very sweeping chicane here on the infield. But Lewis Belliker seems to have David Bosger's number right about now as they go through the next right. And then, a few off tracks there, I think. iRacing's server might be quite busy as we come out of the final corner to round out the opening lap here at Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. Belliker leads, Bosger in second, and someone's gone off back. That must have been Thomas Cope. Yep, Thomas Cope, race 2 winner from round 1, around and off at the final corner.
That's really unfortunate for him. Fighting in the midfield, of course, always a difficult affair. But yeah, just there can be a slight little lockup even, or even like just a bare bit of contact. You're arriving with so much momentum there. You know, you have such a wide circuit for a moment with the pit exit on the outside. And then there comes the, you know, the separator, basically, that AstroTurf. And, yeah, trying to turn in there if there's someone on your inside, or it may be someone stabbing it down the inside. It's just, yeah, pretty much impossible to get it stopped there. The gravel is not too inviting, even in iRacing.
Yeah, very true. There's Steen Ledger running 13th at the moment. Currently in the top 20 reverse grid pole position slot is the number 4 of Daniel Iljanelmo. Running 7 1/4 seconds behind the race leader, Germany's Lewis Belliker, in the number 17, who's got a 4/10 of a second advantage over David Bosger, Andrea Bristow, Dino Lombardi, Jarno Koch, Pablo Espes. Then we've got Sergio Ferrero, Lorenzo Manfredotti, who's been one of the biggest movers along with Espes and Bristow, all making 4 places. The Argentinian Rondoletto has also made up. Now let's have a look at the replay here as the start. So Ross McFarlane is very much in a pinch point. It's a very, very tight left-hander. And look, he gets attacked from, gets a touch from behind. That was one of the virtual coach cars. So one of the Italians cutting into the side of him. It touched him on the left rear, spun him around, and then, well, Ross McFarlane is on the comeback trail. He's currently up to 26. So if he can get himself to 20th by the end of the race, he'll be in pole position. Adam Isaacs, in the meantime, has got through on Octavio Rondoletto. But, well, Lewis Belliker holding a comfortable half a second lead. But in these single-make cars, that means nothing. Steen Ledger up the inside. That is on Hendrik Augustin. They are swapping positions at the moment. Simone Passioni drops behind our Japanese driver, number 58, Toshihiro Kawasaki. Eric Grove rounds out the top 16. They are changing places and they're checking up and also swapping paint.
Absolutely, they're all over each other here, and it's just one of the beauties of Oschersleben here, you know? A lot of the good German racetracks, well, actually, I can't really think of any really bad German racetracks, but a lot of the German racetracks with, you know, like the big cult following, pretty much, are in West Germany, and then obviously you have you know, the Saxon Ring and Lausitz in the east, and then Oschersleben is pretty much just set right in the middle at the border of the old DDR.
Yes. Yeah.
And you know, it's a great place. It's a fantastic place to visit, you know, and I think also one of the best experiences you can actually have as a spectator. So if you're ever in Germany, if there's a race weekend around at Oschersleben, go visit, because if we have a look on the inside of this, for example, so basically right behind where the camera would be,
yes.
You have basically view of like 80% of the track. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's a bit of a shove there from Pablo Espes. Tino Lombardi was looking to the outside into the first corner on Andrea Bristow. Jano Koch is stuck in the middle of all of this. And, well, that's Espes. Track limits, mate. Track limits. But to be completely honest, Dino Lombardi trying to go wheel to wheel with Andrea Bristow going into the first corner, nearly made it stick, but Bristow was quite resolute, saying, Dino, you know me too well. You've got to do a hell of a lot to try and get past.
Yeah, and these guys, obviously, they know each other quite a bit, you know. All the iRacing pros, I'd say, have raced each other more than enough. And I think this is actually Igor Wazowski, so that looks to be turn 2. That must have been lap 1 or something. And yeah, lap 1 in turn 2, well, turn 3 technically in Hasseröder. But just, yeah, getting the short end of the stick there. A lot of cars trying to fit in the space of one, and unfortunately, Wazowski just drawing the shortest of all straws there. But now, once again, you know, we have this wonderful train here, number 77 here. 6th place, actually, sorry, that's 11. That is, you know, an awkward-looking form. Pablo Espes all over the back of Koch and Lombardi. 2 teammates, of course, trying to work together in the meantime of all of this. And right behind him, well, there's one car of a gap, and then after that, there's another teammate of them. So they're all obviously, you know, fighting against each other. This would be again at the end of lap 1, and oh, okay, that is not how I imagined that going down at all. But Thomas Cope was on the inside, the guy on the outside. I couldn't quite spot the number, turned in there, and yeah, just sent him around. That's really, really unfortunate for Thomas Cope.
Yeah, it's never an easy thing to honestly see there, if I'm completely truthful. But yeah, it's always that kind of push, shove, and hope the move sticks, or get out of dodge very, very quickly. And yeah, Thomas Cope having really no time to react to that one. And like you said, you're carrying so much velocity coming through that final corner. You're either at the mercy of another driver, or you've just got to sort of grin and bear it and take the hits whilst they keep on coming. But then, of course, there's also an opportunity for these drivers to protest against certain situations post-race, which is something that is part of the sporting regulations of the ADAC Digital GT500. Daniel Sedgley, I have to give a shout out here to, Nico. He's up to 18th already, and guess what? Guess who's in top 20 reverse grid pole position? The Flying Scotsman, Ross McFarlane.
Yeah, and he's been actually doing a really, really good recovery drive from that entire situation, from turn 1. And if he actually keeps it up for the second half of the race so far, then he would be looking quite happy at reverse grid pole position. But speaking of people with great recovery drives, of course, on our little timing here, it shows us -17. We know where he started, and we know where he went. So really, really great drive. That's pretty much 10 positions he regained after that disastrous first corner. And at the same time, you know, having gained 7 positions, that's Leon Harhoff in 15th right now. Obviously, you know, we're going to have to, like, look at our guys who are running both of the series as well, you know, with the adaptability and all that stuff.
Yeah, considering the fact that they've got a Duquesne LMP3 in the Asetek Simsports Community Trophy. But then with this is the real true adaptability test. It's a bit like when you had drivers like you know, Graham Hills, Sterling Moss, John Surtees, Bruce McLaren back in the 50s, 60s and early 70s, where they'd race anything anywhere around the world. So we're sort of bringing that kind of mantra here to the digital GT500. Of course, endurance racing you know, a lot of people love their 12, 24 hours, but we really wanted to spice this up for the 10th anniversary of the ADAC SimRacing Expo. If you haven't got your tickets, well, you can get them through a variety of sources, through our official website, but also you can head to traction.gg and get yourself a nice little discount off a daily or a weekend ticket on their website. So head to traction.gg if you want to get something through for SimRacing Expo for 2024, the 18th to the 20th of October at the Messe Dortmund. We're really looking forward to welcoming you all there. There's so much news that is still to come on our social medias, on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, but we're on lap number 7 out of 10. And still, well, Lewis Belliker is being reeled in a little bit now, because not too far behind him, well, 1.15 seconds behind him is Jarno Koch in the number 7. Dino Lombardi 8 tenths behind him, 4th in the number 13. Andrea Bristow, who's put in the fastest lap of the race so far, 1:37.510, is only 5 tenths of a second behind our race leader. David Bosger is within 3 tenths. We're riding on board on the right side rear wheel arch of Eric Grove, who's got Octavio Rondeletto behind him. The Argentinian has lost 4 positions. Meantime, Ross McFarlane has got himself into 19th. That will put him on the outside of the front row for the reverse grid top 20 race that we'll have coming up after this one. So, yeah, Ross McFarlane. Adam Isaacson has now got himself up to 9th. That'll put him 11th on the grid for race 2. So he's just got past Sergio Ferrero in the number 15. So, yeah, still some good action. And again, in front of Leon Harhoff, that was Felix Vötter, whose left side was bouncing up and down like a yo-yo on the string.
Yeah, and it's what I love about these lower-end touring cars. You know, they just have this body roll more. You know, it's not really a lot of downforce. I mean, in the end, they weigh as much as the Mustang that we had a couple of weeks ago. But, of course, they have far lower power. You know, it's not as stiff of a car. And you can just properly attack curves. You can attack bumps and, you know, pretty much just go sailing halfway through the air. And it's just great to see because these sorts of things, you know, you can take bumps. You can attack even more simply because they have a little bit more flexibility in them. And now, see, guys. Naughty, naughty, don't do that right in front of the triple left. I was going to say it encourages close racing, but I wasn't meaning that close.
Well, could be a call being too close for comfort there, Nico, because the top 4 rounded out by Italy's Dino Lombardi, covered by less than 9 tenths. Lorenzo Manfredotti is, and also Simone Maria Marciano are swapping places with Pablo Espes at the moment. That's the battle for 6th, 7th and 8th. Bristow at one point was looking up the inside through a left-hander on David Bosger, who is within 3.5 tenths worth of striking distance. Oh, Belliker makes a slight mistake as now we go to a replay. Oh, Daniel Ingelmo. Oh, gets a tag from behind. Smacks straight to the right rear. And then, oh, a double tap as well. Oh, Daniel Ingelmo has ended up in the pit lane. Haroldas Joatautas has ended up in the pits on lap 4. But still, it is coming right down to the wire on this one. Belliker is holding on. Bosger's right, he's sniffing right up his rear wing at the minute, is the number 6. So could be a very, very interesting dynamic that we have in the last few moments. Dino Lombardi swarming all over the back bumper, left, right, up and down, wherever you can think, on Andrea Brissot. Out of the next left-hander, you can see how much momentum Dino Lombardi is really using to help fling the GR86 Cup car through these corners.
Yeah, absolutely, trying to use every bit of space that he can. And we have Henrik Augustin, and that's really unfortunate. So he basically just barely tagged the rear.
Oh, and then he got hit.
Tried to slow down to stop him from spinning. Then, of course, the guys behind, they have to keep going because they have cars behind them as well. And he just loses out on everything there. That's just really, really bad luck.
Yeah, you did say that it can be close. Well, that was more than close. That was contact and then some. Dino Lombardi again trying to put the frighteners on Andrea Bristow for 3rd place. Bellick is still holding on. He's still coming wide and touching the rear rights on the dust and the grass. And there's some of them, well, Bosca going through the kitty litter, through the next left. Great angle shot there provided by our broadcast director, Mike Yao. Big thank you to him for tonight. But it is becoming a real drag race. Dino Lombardi will have a bit of a slipstream. White flag in the air. We're on the final lap of this race. Lewis Bellicker just needs to hold on for about 3.5 kilometres, and he'll become our third different race winner of the Digital GT500 so far, joining Thomas Cope and Sven Haase from round 1.
Really, really nice going here right now. And yeah, all I have to say is, just keep it all together, guys. Obviously, like, last lap is where you want to be a hero. One of the big places where you can try to be a hero, they already passed, but triple left, slide a little bit wide there, open a bit of a gap, and people will try to pass through there or anything else. And I think the next big attack point here will pretty much be the Shell S and into the final corner now. So we have the next bit, the chicane. Everyone's taking a lot of sausage curve there. Everyone's taking everything up until that cone there, or, well, pylon, whatever you want to call it. Whatever will destroy the front splitter of those cars if they now make their way down the back straight again. And I don't think anyone's going to be able to make a move just yet.
No, we're coming down to the nitty-gritty, the business end of this opening race of round 2 here at the ADAC Digital GT500. Part and parcel of the attractions you will see at this year's 10th anniversary of the ADAC SimRacing Expo. But Lewis Bellicker is coming out of the final corner. It's going to be the run to the line. Bellicker's going to hold on. 3 different races so far, and here at Oschersleben, race 1 goes the way of Lewis Bellicker. 2nd, David Bosca. 3rd, Andrea Bristow. 4th, Dino Lombardi. Jano Koch rounds out the top 5 ahead of Simone Maria Marceno. We've got to wait for a few other drivers to come across the line. Lorenzo Manfredotti, Adam Isaacson, Sergio Ferrero, Pablo Espes ran at the top 10. They'll round out 20th to 11th on the grid. Simone Persioni will start 10th. Steen Ledger 12th on that. Toshihiro Kawasaki, Felix Verta. Ross McFarlane will start 6th, having finished 15th ahead of Eric Grove. Leon Harhoff takes 17th place in that one. I was trying to catch who was going to be our 20th place driver, because that person has just booked their place. We've got a little bit of a warm-up before race 2, but I'm loving this. I'm loving this format, Nico. GT3s, Mustangs at VIR. Then we go to Oschersleben. And then here are your provisional results. Of course, obviously, there may be some stewards' inquiries and some protests. So Bellicker wins the race by 3.5 tenths. Ahead of Bosca, Bristow, Lombardi, Koch, Marceno, Manfredotti, Isaacson, Ferrero and Espes ran at the top 10. Simone Persione, Steen Ledger, Toshihiro Kawasaki, Felix Verta, Ross McFarlane, Eric Grove. Leon Harhoff finished 17th. Nice work there by the youngster from Germany. Daniel Sedgley is going to start P3, having finished 18th. The number 29 from Olympus Esports. That's the majority of the top half of our 31 finishers. So, 19th, Octavio Rondoletto, and Absolute Motorsport aceless Andrea Dalla Valle gets 20th, ahead of Hendrik Augustin, Tobias Krücken, Ansgar Alrichter, Marcello Caserta, Pedro Amengual, Thomas Cope, Jason Staney, Igor Wozowski, rounding out the 28 out of 30 competitors. But there we go. Andrea Dalla Valle puts it on provisional, puts it on top 20 reverse grid pole position for race 2. Daniel Ingelmo, unfortunately, finishing with 3 laps to go. Haraldas Jetaltas for over the limit. The Lithuanian in the number 56, unfortunately, retiring on lap number 4. Oh, more, sir. I want more, as they say, Nico.
Well, and unlike Oliver Twist, we shall have more. So I think this is going to be very, very nice for race 2 now, especially with the reverse grid taken into account. And I have to say again, I lost him for a moment in the closing laps, but McFarlane making it back up to 15th, that is absolutely incredible. goes back down to 30th in turn 1, and then makes its way half the way back up the grid. What is that man gonna do now?
Well, hell hath no fury like a Scotsman's scorn, especially when he's been aggrieved by somebody punting him off at turn 1. That's all I'm saying on that one. Ross McGregor, you can quote me on that, buddy. He's one of the team over at Traction and a good friend that I've known for many years, and also an avid sim racer. But yeah, we're nearly not that far away from the warm-up completing. But Andrea Dalla Valle, a lot of people, if you've heard that name, you know who he is. But he's going to be our top 20 reverse grid pole sitter for this second race. Of course, we could look at maybe a lot of the same action that we had in race 1, but race 2 showed a very, very close top 4 at the end of it. I mean, especially when we had Thomas Cope and Pablo Espes battling wheel to wheel through roller coaster and then right up to the checkered. Like they were wheel to wheel for a number of corners, very much echoing Timo Glock and Gary Paffett's battle back in DTM in 2018, which lasted around the Hockenheim ring for 50 kilometers, folks. 50 kilometers. And that's about 10 laps of the Hockenheim ring, probably 10 or 11, giving the distance, which is 4.574 kilometers. That's the old school Hockenheim ring, not the one that people might remember from the 1990s or the 1980s. Azar nearly got assaulted by Nelson Piquet Jr. with a kung fu kick downstairs.
Oh God, I missed that track.
So do I. But they are starting to grid up ready for race 2 here for round 2 of the ADAC Digital GT500. Haroldus Jatautas has not yet readied up, but there you see Andrea Dalla Valle and Octavio Rondoletto on the front row. Daniel Sedgley, Leon Harhoff row 2, Eric Grove and Ross McFarlane row 3. Then it's Felix Vierter, Toshihiro Kawasaki, Steen Ledger, Simone Passione, Pablo Espes, Sergio Ferrero rounding out row 6. Row 7, Adam Isaacson, Lorenzo Manfredotti, Simone Marceno, Jano Koch, Dino Lombardi, Andrea Bristow, David Bosga, and our race 1 winner, Luis Bellica. Hendrik Augustin, Tobias Kruggen, Ansgar Alrichter, and Marcello Caserta round out row 12. Then we've got Pedro Amengual, Thomas Cope, Jason Staney, Igor Wazowski, Daniel Ingelmo. Looks like Haroldus Jatautas is not joining this second race, but they are coming through the final corner here for race 2 of round 2 of the ADAC Digital GT500 for 2024. The red lights are on. Everyone is already starting to swap paint. 5 wide between several drivers as the lights are out. And we've already had a spin. Oh dear, someone got punted and turned around sideways.
Yeah, I couldn't quite see where that was, but there was 2 cars that got slowed down there. Everyone else seems to be making it through the corner relatively planned.
All drivers going off. Pablo Espes, I think, just went off, and we've got a spinner in the back. Marcello Caserta into the wall. Oh, dearie me. The Italians at the moment are dropping like flies. Oh, and there's more contact.
More off tracks.
Steen Ledger this time. Marcello Caserta's gone back to pit lane, no surprise. Oh dear, it's all gone a bit Pete Tong now, and there's a battle for, well, Ross McFarlane's gotten up to 4th. He's up the inside of Daniel Sedgley from Olympus Esports. Leon Harhoff running at the top 3. Octavio Rondoletto battling away with Andrea Dalla Valle for the lead of the race, and still the amount of suspension travel on these GR86 Cup cars is quite hilarious to watch at times, depending which part of the circuit you go round here at Oschersleben. But Harhoff is trying to push the envelope and try and chase down Rondoletto and get past him for 3rd, and he's got McFarlane right up his exhaust pipe.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's going to be looking at both the mirror and in front of him right now, so, you know, ideally you'd want to have your eyes facing different directions, but goddamn, McFarlane is all over the back of him, and meanwhile Rondoletto now going alongside Dalla Valle and actually going past, so got a better run through the final corner, also getting a little bit of a push maybe from Harhoff, who also now moves up in front. Can he keep it around the outside though? That was my first real-life overtake, and he actually does make it stick so far. But of course the next corner will be a left-hander again, but he makes it stick properly and up into P2. Well done.
McFarlane's got past Dalla Valle in the meantime. He was right up the rear wing, and he's trying to dive up the inside through into the next left-hander. on Leon Harhoff. So Rondeletto leads, Harhoff second. Oh, and Harhoff makes a mistake. That's going to open the door for McFarlane for P2. And Daniel Sedgley, wheel to wheel, side by side with Andrea Dalle Valle. And Sedgley's going to get the inside line. Eric Grove might also get through. It's going to be a right-hander next time, but Grove keeps it pinned round the outside of Dalle Valle. That's an audacious overtake if that gets through. It's 3 wide. Oh, moment there for Sedgley. He's just got to slow down, I think. And side by side, Grove and Dalle Valle. And Grove still round the outside. Did he get through? Yes!
Yes! What a move! That is the long one in the making, isn't it?
Wow, mamma mia, as the Italians would say. That was epic stuff. Let's have a look at a replay here. Andrea Bristow. Okay, this is on the start phase, so they all start accelerating. Bristow pops out to the right. Oh, no, one of the cars pops out to the right. Oh, that's the squeeze. No, no, no. Oh, and look at the avoidance at the back end of the field. But Andrea Bristow, the number 35, who looks to be someone that uses Cube Controls equipment. Yep, there we go. It's plastered all over the Toyota GR86. So Jason Staney in the pits, Dean Ledger in the pits, Marcello Caserta in the pits, and Andrea Bristow rounding out the 26 still running. Oh, dearie me. I've nearly wanted to have a portable defibrillator by my immediate left or right hand side, because there is room to house one here. Meantime, Passioni up the inside of Dalle Valle. This is the battle for P6, and they're going to have a little bit of a hip check between the pair. Felix Wörter is nearly making it nigh on 3 abreast. Into the next left-hander they go. Wörter will have the inside line on Dalle Valle on this particular occasion, but can't get through. Into the piff-paff chicane they go, then into the sweeping right. Great battling up and down the order here. Most positions gained. Jarno Koch down from, down in 7th, gained 9 places. That's 16th on the grid. Lewis Belliker up 7 places, now 13th. Well, we've got a definite howitzer of a race on our hands here on lap 3 out of 10.
Absolutely, and as we just saw the start chaos there, it was almost tragic. The car that Bristow spun across from. Oh, and thinking of spinning across, Espes. Exit of the Senna S. There's no easy way of catching that one. That's a rough one.
Yeah, Code Brown, clean up on aisle 3 in that respective order. So Pablo Espes, who was battling tooth and nail in race 2 at round 1. Eric Grove, new fastest lap, 1:37.658, and he's right with Ross McFarlane in the battle for P3 as they come through the first couple of corners here at Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. Thanks to everyone watching on the YouTube and Twitch channels of ADAC SimRacing Expo, and thereby you'll be able to catch all the action of all the digital GT500 and Asetek Simsports community trophies. This is what happened to Marcello Caserta. Oh, got a turnaround by one of bang straight into the barriers. Left rear is an absolute mess. Got a feeling that might have been Thomas Cope, because Thomas Cope didn't have a good race and he might have been right behind him. But sometimes you can get a little bit unsighted, can't you, Nico?
Yeah, of course, and that's the tricky part about this corner here as well. You have this very, very long section where you can go side by side. And of course, on the outside, you don't want to use all of the track if someone's on your inside. You want to keep them tight, as tight as possible, at least, And just try to make it a bit too tight. And now we have Thomas Cope here. Let's have a look what happened there. Was that maybe also a little bit too tight? Yeah, that...
Oh! Oh. And the J-turn didn't quite work out for him after the 180-degree spin.
I will be honest, that must have been hilarious, though. Come on, you have to see the humor here, because he gets spun around 180 degree, looks the guy in the eyes and goes, "Why would you do this?"
All I'm going to say is the late Paul Walker and Tyrese Gibson, Fast and Furious 2 on the highway with Brian Spillner in the Mitsubishi Evo, and Roman, his buddy, in the Mitsubishi Eclipse with the bad chrome alloys, being given the bird by his buddy, who's at 60 miles an hour in reverse, even though that's probably not possible in a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. Nevertheless, we've got a real good battle on our hands because things are closing up at the front end of the field. We are on lap 5 out of 10. And, well, as we had in the first race, top 4 at the moment here, Nico. Ottavio Rondoletto, Leon Harhoff, Ross McFarlane, and Eric Grove covered by around about a second.
Yeah, really, really tight still. And, I mean, Rondoletto did a really good job of just trying to just get away further and further and further as we half taking a lot of sausage curb there. And these 6/10ths, they are his lifeline right now, you know, now up to 7/10ths pretty much. And right behind that, within 3/10ths, we have McFarlane, Grove, and Harhoff. And Harhoff now looking to defend through the S, but a bit late on the turn. And of course, if you're right next to the line there, you're going to have marbles and all the dirty stuff. And yeah, just couldn't quite make the turn in there. McFarlane just forcing his way through. Very, very hard, but fair, of course. And moving it up into P2 with now a fantastic 4 places gained. And now Rondoletto will have to have, you know, his eyes in the back mirror almost more than on the road, because McFarlane, we know how damn fast he is.
Yeah, well, at the moment, we're halfway through this race, on to lap 6 out of 10, and it's side by side, a little further back. I'm trying to keep an eye on who that is. That is the battle for 5th place, so between Simone Passioni, who's just been passed by Jan Koch in the number 7, who's made up 10 places from 16th on the grid, and also has put in the fastest lap, 1:37.443. So time is fast running out. Hendrik Augustin also in pit lane, and more to the point, our race 1 winner, Lewis Belliker, is out on lap number 4. A real shame there for the number 17. So 2 of our German contingent out of the race, putting us down to 24 runners and riders, all covered on the same lap by 17.5 seconds. But it's the lead now between Ottavio Rondoletto and Ross McFarlane. Around about 7/10ths of a second. McFarlane was nearly 2/10ths quicker on the previous tour than the Argentinian who leads the way. And then we've got Harhoff, Grove, Passioni, Koch, Vöter, Dalit Valle, Sedgley and Isaacson rounding out the top 10. They're covered by 6.6 seconds. Oh, that car for Leon Harhoff, the number 95, is looking a little bit sketchy on the back end. At times, he's just really pushing that car really quite hard, and sometimes going a little bit too far off track. And there it goes. Eric Grove up the inside through the final corner. It's going to be a drag race to the left-hander at turn 1, but Leon Harhoff will have the inside line. Passioni and Koch are closing in quickly on the 2 in front.
And it's going to be very, very difficult now. Of course, he has to try and cover that side, but if he sticks along, and he does definitely, Grove goes actually a little bit deep, but pretty much plants the car right in front of Harhoff. Harhoff has to try and slowly just close the door as well. Can't try to just slow down more and try and get the over and under on him, because Passioni right behind him now looking again a little bit for a move, but not quite in the range yet, because Passioni also has to watch out for Koch right behind him.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite interesting from that perspective. Toshihiro Kawasaki, number 58 from the land of the rising sun, switching places with Lorenzo Manfredotti for 12th place at the moment. Manfredotti's moved up 2 places. Kawasaki has lost 5. There is the STDN Motorsport number 58. There's Leon Harhoff being threatened by Simone Passioni and Jan Koch. This is the battle, along with Eric Grove for P3, whereas McFarlane has chopped that gap down by an absolute landslide. He's within 2/10ths now. McFarlane gunning for the race win here on lap 7 out of 10. We've got 3 more to go, and McFarlane has got the fire in the belly as they come round towards the final right-hander. Here we ride on board the roof cam with the 127 from Scotland. Now it's the run down to turn number 1. Let's see when it starts to close on in. The closing speed starting now. And McFarlane, is he going to try and chance something? He's a 10th behind, he's right on the rear bumper. Rondoletto on the brakes into and halfway through the chicane. He's sliding a little bit wide. That's going to open the door for McFarlane through at turn number 2. And Rondoletto still holds on. I don't know how he kept a hold of it, but McFarlane is absolutely possessed. He wants that win. We've got 3 to go, including this one, and Rondeletto feeling the heat in the kitchen as we ride on board with Ross McFarlane, our second place driver.
Yeah, this is the crazy bit here. You know, you have to carry the momentum. McFarlane definitely got his nose in there, but just couldn't quite get all of the momentum down. You know, the tires are obviously also limited in grip. And Rondeletto just used every centimeter of track that he had. So really, really well driven from Rondeletto. And at the same time, an insane attack by McFarlane as he's all over the back of him, coming onto the back straight. Again, using all of the track available. It's not quite doing a bit of lawn work. Covering up the inside completely. Now McFarlane looking for the outside. Can he get it across? Can he get it alongside? No, not quite. He should have known that, honestly. He was in the other position against Hahoff earlier.
Very, very true. McFarlane is not giving up. It's the never say die attitude from the Scotsman against the Argentinian. And through once again we go into the final corner. 2 laps to go. And that is 7.4 kilometres of racing left here at Motorsport Arena Oschersleben for race 2, round 2. ADAC Digital GT500 2024. McFarlane now pulling to the left-hand side of Rondeletto through into the first chicane here at turns 1 and 2. Is he going to get the crossover through the next time? I don't think he will do, but he's still keeping within a hair's breadth of the rear bumper of the Argentinian. The Scotsman swings it wide into the next left-hand around the outside. That might work if he had a bit more momentum. He's going to run a little bit wide as McFarlane. This is going to bring back a few other drivers. There's Grove, there's Hahoff, Bastioni and Koch waiting in the wings. It could be a top 6 fight out for the win here in race 2 as McFarlane has got a sense of urgency about his driving style, but he's sideways! McFarlane's sideways and all that momentum's gone.
Oh my goodness me, you know, that's the thing, you know, getting close is one thing, getting past is the other, and McFarlane basically with almost full rear lockup there, maybe even touching Rondeletto, just going into the right-hander there, and my goodness me, that is just absolutely impeccable driving from all of them. Fantastic car control from McFarlane, and Rondeletto just honestly putting on the defense of his life.
Well, McFarlane's gathered some of that momentum back up. He's got the gap down to half a second, but we are about to go on to the final lap very shortly. There's the final right-hander. As Hahoff, oh, Passioni dive bombs up the inside of Leon Hahoff. White flag in the air, 3.7 kilometres to go. Hahoff fends off Passioni, who was absolutely committed with a big old dive bomb through the final right-hander. It's game on right now.
Quite literally threw it down the inside there. You can't really say it anywhere else, you know, and that's really, really crazy. Obviously, you know, you have to make the move stick now because, you know, last lap, there's not really a lot of other chances to go. Can McFarlane still close that gap? I don't think so. Rondeletto might have just saved himself there with that attack. And Hahoff, at the meantime, you know, he's going to have to look in the rearview mirror because Fasoni, once again, looking down. His inside, his outside, his inside a little bit again. Just always slight little peaks. Not quite able to get alongside yet, but he is there and he's letting Hahoff know.
Yeah, so halfway through the final lap, lap 10 out of 10 here at Motorsport Arena Oschersleben. A great Titanic duel. Fourth is going to be closely contested as we head through the very quick chicane here at the mid part of the track. But Octavio Rondeletto is now having to defend because, look, Ross McFarlane is within shooting distance of him. Ross McFarlane, flash of the lights to Rondeletto, saying, hang on, sunshine, you are not out of the woods quite yet. And it's less than 4 tenths between Rondeletto, McFarlane and Grove. It's a 3-way scrap for the win as we're going to come out of the final corner. Oh, Rondeletto goes wide. Will McFarlane set it up the inside? I don't think he's going to get enough done. No, it's not going to be enough. McFarlane flashes the lights. Rondeletto wins an absolute barnstormer of race number 2 ahead of McFarlane, Grove, Hahoff, Passioni and Koch. Top 6 covered by 1.5 seconds. What a finale.
My goodness, that second to last corner. I was not sure if he was going to lose enough time to actually just be alongside with him, but really good car control from Rondeletto. I think that might get maybe protested later, but I honestly hope not because, you know, going off track and gaining an advantage, but I can't really think of any sort of advantage she would gain from going into the gravel traps at Oschersleben.
Well, two different winners for another round. Octavio Rondoletto, race 2. Louis Belliker from Germany, race 1. Adding to the list to Sven Haase and Thomas Cope for round 1 for VIR with the Mustang GT3. Octavio Rondoletto wins by less than 0.3 of a second. Hendrik Augustin, the driver in the 999 from Carlar Esports, comes across the line and becomes our 25th and final finisher after 10 laps of racing. What a way to end the on-track action, but Octavio Rondoletto must be doing a victory lap at the moment. I can still see him on track. Ross McFarlane, close but not close enough, went sideways on the penultimate lap, and that cost him the opportunity to go for the W. Ahead of Eric Grove, Leon Harhoff takes 4th ahead of Simone Passione, Jano Koch, Felix Vetter, Andrea Dalle Valle. Pole sitter finishes 8th. Lorenzo Manfredotti, Daniel Sedgley, Adam Isaacson, Dino Lombardi, Toshihiro Kawasaki, Pablo Espes. Then we had Igor Wazowski, who made up, nice work, Igor, 28th to 16th at the end of that one. Ahead of Tobias Kuchen, Ansgar Alrichter, Daniel Ingelmo, and Simone Maria Marceno rounding out the top 20. Andrea Bristow managed to recover to finish 21st ahead of Sergio Ferrero. Thomas Cope, Pedro Amengual, then we got Hendrik Augustin being the last of the drivers that finished in race 2 there. Louis Belliker out on lap 5. Steen Legend lap 2. Jason Staney lap 1. Marcello Caserta didn't even make it to the first corner, I think. And, Herodas Jataltas and Miroslav Svoboda did not even make it onto the grid. Well, what can I say? We have just put a ping out to some of our drivers to see if they would be able to join us for a post-race interview. Looks like we have got them. So let's bring in, first of all, our race 1 winner for round 2, if we can. Germany's Louis Belliker, who did a fantastic job holding off several drivers. So let's see if we can. You know what? I'm gonna. Hang on a second. I'm just gonna try and see if we have got a waiting room at the moment, which I'm just trying to. So I'm just gonna dive in for. I'm just gonna try and see if I can actually. There we go. He's in the waiting room now. So as well as our race 2 winner. So let's pull Louis Belliker into the booth. Louis, good evening. Well done. Congratulations, becoming our 3rd different winner for the ADAC Digital GT500. Tough fight out there in race 1.
Yeah, thank you. Good one. It was a good one. The race 1 was pretty interesting. I started from P2 not expecting much to happen, but thankfully David was a bit late on the start, and then I was ahead on T1, so it was pretty much just managing the tires in P1 and trying not to get a slowdown out there and just keep P1 and the pace, because it's pretty tough to overtake here.
Yeah, track limits were definitely something that myself and Nico were talking about in the build-up to race 1. But how much? We've already asked Sven Haase and also Thomas Cope, who are inaugural winners for round 1. How exciting is it to, the Digital GT500, obviously you've been part of the German sim racing scene for quite a couple of years now, but going from an endurance format to what we have now, where it's, you find out car and track the day before, you've got a small window to practice. Is that something that a sim racer finds exciting and competitive in sort of like going, well, I've got 30 plus other drivers in the same boat as me, so I've got to do what I can?
Yeah, for sure. It's very exciting, the format, and I like that it's getting implemented more and more. I think also the iRacing F4 Championship, the World Championship, will have it as well, where 24 hours out before the race, the car and track will be announced. And yeah, I really like it, since I don't have as much pressure practicing all day and just sitting there grinding the laps. So yeah, I really enjoy it.
Talk to us about what happened in race 2. Didn't quite end the way you'd like, wouldn't it?
Not really, no. I'm a bit disappointed at myself for going to the gap, but misjudging the curb a bit, so jumping into the other car. So yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, but I had a good start at the beginning, and then I should have just stayed a bit more chill, but I went for a gap that I shouldn't have. But yeah, it was still very much fun, the first few laps.
Brilliant. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before I hand you over to Nico for a couple of questions from his side?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to APEX Racing Academy, always being there, always helping us with the prep, and then Lorenzo with driving with me today and prepping for the round a bit before the race.
Brilliant. Nico, any questions?
I just want to know from you, like from your own personal experience now, you know, throwing that car around here for 10 laps in the first race. Which track section was the most difficult for you to tackle at full power?
I think it was mostly the last sector. I mean, they are all really difficult. Like sector 1, you have the first turn over the curbs and sending the car really hard and then trying to get the car turned into T1. But then on sector 2, you have a bit of the difficult chicane where you have to manage the slowdown because you can get it really easily. And then on the last sector, it's pretty hard with the first chicane and then into the last turn. I could never figure that one out, and Lorenzo was just always better than me in that one. So yeah, the last turn for me would probably be the hardest somehow.
Yeah, absolutely understandable. Like the last 2 corners, especially with the high sausage curve on the inside as well, and then getting carried out to the outside. But either way, you know, you braved it really, really well. Well-deserved win in race 1, and yeah, congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hope to see you around.
Brilliant. Thank you, Louis Spelliker. We'll see you for round 3 on the 8th of September. So thanks a lot for jumping in with us, and we'll see you next time. Well done tonight.
See you. Bye-bye.
So a big thank you there to Louis Spelliker. Let's bring in our race 2 winner and welcome in Argentina's Octavio Rondoletto. Octavio, good afternoon where you are at the moment.
Hello, Alex. Thank you.
Well, firstly, congratulations on what was a titanic battle between you, Ross McFarlane, Eric Grove, Leon Harhoff. It really came down to the wire, didn't it?
Yeah, I will be honest, I'm exhausted. The race was extremely hard to maintain the pace in the front with the big draft we have here. And at first I want to congratulate Ross, Eric, Leon, because they made it difficult and it was really fun. And yes, I'm sure I had the pace in the first race, but I had that contact, sadly. I think I was a little bit too slow in the beginning. Not an excuse, but I'm an oval driver. I'm not used to run too much these things, but I had fun.
That's the main thing. It's all about fun, even though, yes, there is prize money up for grabs. What was the most difficult section to get to grips with at Oschersleben with these GR86s in the limited time that you had to get yourself ready for tonight?
Oh, definitely the end of the lap. The last chicane and the last 2 turns were a little bit difficult to me. I don't like slow corners, I prefer fast corner, but the last chicane is a little bit special. I prefer the other chicane, that one before. I was watching the racing line of the other drivers, and I was having a different one. Everybody hit the curb, and I was missing it. But well, I think it worked. Definitely I want to work in the last sector, but it's time to think in the next race and practice with every combination.
Sounds like a good plan to me, Octavio. Before I hand you over to my colleague Nico Hellbrand, anyone you'd like to give a special mention to tonight?
Yes, at first, my 2 teams, Byte 500 of Argentina and Flaming Karma Racing of the United States. One in road course, not too much, I'm not used to do it too much. But in the oval, I run in every week, so a big read to Ramiro Rodriguez and Gerard Poole for everything.
Brilliant. Nico, any questions for Octavio before we let him go tonight?
Just to give the viewers a little bit of a view what's going on inside your head at that point. You had this fantastic defensive drive. First against Leon Half and then against Ross McFarlane. And getting all over the back of you. You're basically almost a sitting duck against his attacks. What went through your head in the closing laps as you were basically, just trying anything to stay ahead there?
Oh, I thought I have to save some incident points. I was using everything in the last lap, over the grass, over the sand. Let's focus in the front and watch in the last turn, because I was expecting that dive bomb. So do everything, watch in front, and nothing more.
Well, fantastic. But yeah, I said it already on the broadcast earlier, but fantastic defensive drive, absolutely well-deserved victory. And yeah, just congratulations and bloody well done, man.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Nico, and thank you for the ADAC for the championship to Germany, because they are making it possible. And I mean, well, a big greet to all Argentina and United States.
Brilliant. Octavio Rondoletto, our fourth different winner so far in the ADAC Digital GT500. Octavio, get yourself some rest and recuperation. We'll see you on the 8th of September for round 3, the midway point. Well done tonight.
Thank you, Alex. See you there.
Well, there we go. Octavio Rondoletto. The early dramas. What an evening it's been here for the ADAC Digital GT500 for round 2. Another 2 winners to add to the honour list, Nico. Yeah, round 3. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Digital GT500 slot machine has to decide, because we've still got 3 races to go. 3 different cars. Well, we got any one of the other cars could be selected twice, and we've got 3 more tracks to go. So I really can't explain how exciting this has been so far over the opening 2 rounds. And yeah, okay, we've got a little bit of a wait, the 8th of September, which is in about 3 weeks' time. But, as they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and the 3 remaining tracks that we have are also just 3 absolute bangers, Nevada, Lebanon, and Road Atlanta. And, no matter which car and track combination we're going to get there, besides also the cars being a little bit, pretty similar actually to this sort of thing. Well, the MX-5 pretty much being, a little bit smaller, I'd say, a little bit less powerful, but also lighter. So still a very, very fun, touring car. And also the EFS 1600, so very light, less power, but you can throw that into any corner. I think we're going to just have absolutely fantastic racing action, no matter what combination of these 2 factors we're going to get.
Well, there were some of the highlights with Lewis Belliker from Germany, the number 17, winning race 1. And then, well, it all kicked off before we'd even crossed the start-finish line in race number 2. But everyone was swapping paints before the lights went out. But a big old battle started emerging at the front. 3 wide at points going through the second corner. Pablo Espes going for a little bit of an off-track, amongst others. Caserta ending up into the barriers and then into pit lane. Manfredotti trying to keep his elbows out. Drama for Daniel Sedgley, who got a slowdown penalty partway through the race. But Eric Grove with this audacious round the outside move on Andrea Dalle Valle. And here is a replay of the start. Well, 3 squeezing to the same bit of tarmac on the start-finish straight when the lights go out. It's no bueno, I'm afraid, and, well, cat-like reflexes will definitely help you in an iRacing race. That just proves it. And Andrea Bristow being on the receiving end of the squeeze was piggy in the middle, got pinched, and that was it. Unfortunately, that was all she wrote, and this was the incident saw Marcello Caserta into the barriers in the number 88, one of the Acelith Motorsport Acelith sim racers, and then Thomas Cope also having his own fair share of dramas, getting hit in the left rear quarter panel, and then 180 Gymkhana opportunity possibly. J-turn didn't work out and he hits the wall. Never mind, but Octavio Rondoletto makes it 4 winners from 4 different races so far in the ADAC Digital GT500. But more to the point, folks, well, that really wraps up our coverage for tonight We have to say a big thank you to Mike Yao, our man behind the scenes. Thank you to him for providing the great camera angles that you've seen all evening tonight, and also bringing our two faces onto the screen as well. A big thank you to our partners at Asetek Simsports, Gridfinder, Logitech G, SimStaff and Traction.gg. Don't forget the halfway points of the Asetek Simsport Community Trophy heads to Lausitz Ring DTM on the 1st of September, and the digital GT500 will make its return for round 3, car and track, as of yet undisclosed, on the 8th of September. You'll be able to tune in with all the action live on the ADAC SimRacing Expo YouTube and Twitch channels. Don't forget, you can also hit us up on our relevant social media channels, which you'll find in the description down below, along with our website. If you want to get a discount on a daily or a weekend ticket, head to Traction.gg, our media partner for 2024. Well, Nico, final words before we sign off tonight?
No real final words. I was just taking down a trip memory lane this evening, touring cars at Oschersleben. Good times back then and good times now again. Always close racing. And even with the incidents that we saw, it was an absolute joy to once again see these races, commentate on it with you. And hopefully the guys all at home or at the PC or wherever they were when they were watching, I hope you all enjoyed it as well.
Indeed. We've got a bit of news to disclose with you, reference the 2024 Asetek Simsport Community Trophy. A big thank you to the team in Denmark, led by Andre Eriksson. We have got a Forte S Series pedal set worth the best part of nearly €650 up for the winner of this year's Community Trophy. Second place will win a €250 voucher for the Asetek Simsports shop. And then third place will pick up a €100 voucher. So on that bombshell, see you all in a couple of weeks for the Asetek Simsports Community Trophy with the Duquesne LMP3 at Lausitz Ring DTM. On behalf of Nico Hillebrand, Mike Yao, and myself, Alex Goldschmidt, it's good night.